Avery Allen Cockrell with ABC, hitting coordinator for the Arizona Diamondbacks. We're going to run through your video today, and I'm just going to let it run a few times, talk about some of the things. I'm just watching the setup position. Good setup position, maybe a little bit back, a little bit too much weight, maybe sitting on top of that back leg. And that kind of gets us into a little bit of a spin mode. My question to you, Avery, would be how well do you handle the pitches on the outer half of the plate? How well do you handle change-ups? I think we can get you in a little bit better position to be able to cover all of the strike zone and be able to stay on the off-speed pitches that are left up in the zone, the balls that we should hit. So I'm just going to talk about initially, we're going to go into the load process. Okay, when we load, we're going to let you get into your load here. Okay, when we load, basically what we want to do is get weight going into this back leg, right on the inside part of what would be your left thigh. We don't want weight on top of this leg. As weight gets on top of the leg, a couple things happen. We have a tendency to just sit back there on that back leg and spin to the baseball. And some guys will have a tendency, when all of that weight is on their back leg, when their stride foot lands, they have a tendency to push up. Okay? So really we want to keep this knee right here. We don't want it over that foot. We want that knee inside the foot. And that way we can get the weight into the back leg right there on the inside part of that thigh. That's just going to put us in a little bit better, a little bit more athletic position to attack pitches in all parts of the strike zone. Okay, so I'm going to run forward now, and we're going to take a look at the end of the load process here. When the foot actually hits the ground, the stride foot hits the ground. Okay, now at this particular time, what we want to have is we want to have equal bend in both knees. We'll be athletic on both of these knees inside the feet. Okay, we're inside the feet at this point. But this leg a little bit straighter than I would like to see it when that stride foot lands. And that tells me that most of your weight is on top of this back leg rather than into the back leg, so we can get a proper transfer and stay through pitches on both sides of the plate. Okay? We're looking for squared up hips. We're looking for squared up shoulders. We want the hands to be shoulder height. We want separation of the hands outside the back knee. And we want this head right over the belt buckle. Okay, so draw some lines where it is. We're sitting on that back leg. We can see that the hip line is kind of really more in this position, which tells me weight's on the back side. The front hip is kind of opening to the pull side a little bit quickly, and I basically point back to everything that we talked about in the load. Keep that weight in here. When this foot lands, we're gonna we're gonna have as much bend in this knee right here as we have in the back knee. Okay, this knee's a little bit straighter than this knee right here, so all the weight is sitting on that back leg. Okay, the final thing that I really pay attention to is when the stride foot lands, we want this stride foot to be no more open than 45 degrees. You're at 64. So what that means is, again, weight top of the back leg, and this front is starting to leak open to the pull side, which again makes it tough to handle the balls that we should hit, outer half, outer third, the off-speed pitches that are left up in the zone, makes it tougher to get to these pitches. Okay? We're going to run forward. Now as the back side starts to turn into the front side, you're basically fully open at this point, probably a pitch middle to middle in. You get good extent on the ball. I see the barrel of the bat is facing the pitcher. My question would be, how well do we handle pitches out here on this outer third? And the position that I was talking about is not going to hinder your ability to be able to handle the ball in. If we get the proper transfer of weight going into the front side, this knee will now just work inside this front leg, and it'll transfer the weight to the inside part of that front leg. Okay, but when all the weight is on top of this leg, the tendency, as I mentioned before, in your case, is we want to spin on that back foot, and that just causes a little bit longer swing and makes it really difficult to get through pitches that are on the outer half of the plate. Okay, so how do we work on something like this? Really, the best hitters in the game will spend a lot of time working on the tee, and the reason for working on the tee is when they get to this loaded position, they can put the ball in the exact location that they want to work on it. In your case right here, I would say let's put a tee out here on the outer third. We're going to put it even with your stride foot, maybe slightly inside your stride foot. Okay, and we're just going to work on getting loaded into a good position. We don't want all of the weight on top of the back leg, as I've mentioned. When we load up, we want the weight to set to the inside part of that back leg. So when that stride foot lands right here, this head is going to be more in this position over the belt buckle. Okay, so let me run it forward to down, and your head would be sitting more in this area right here. This is where we want to attack the baseball from. We get on that back leg, we spin, and the barrel is in and out of the zone a little bit longer. So at this point, we would want equal bend in the knees. This hip line would be more squared up, and this head would be right over the belt buckle right here, in a better position to get weight transfer into this leg and let this barrel get the contact and then extend in this direction, and this make for a nice fuller finish in the swing. Okay, I think this is a drill that's going to help you become a more complete hitter. Your balance is very good. You look to have very good hand-eye coordination. I just want to put you in a better position to use the entire field as a hitter. And one of the common denominators of all of the greatest hitters of all time, even before we really started following baseball, and even today, is they have the ability to use the entire field. So I think the biggest thing that I've seen with these guys is they all get into that position that I was talking about with the hip square, with the shoulders square, and you can see here that the weight sitting on the back leg gives you a little bit of tilt in your swing, and that's going to cause a spin on this back foot as opposed to transferring weight into here. Okay, it's going to keep our line from wanting to open up a little bit too quickly. And again, just better plate coverage. Okay, so this is a drill. I think it's going to help you, and when